Rafi was a 22-year-old boy who lived in a small town. He didn't have much, no fancy clothes, no big house, and no job. He spent most of his time walking around the streets, hoping to find something useful or interesting. His dream was to one day do something big, something people would remember. One hot afternoon, while walking through the old market, Rafi saw a small, dusty shop at the end of a narrow street. The signboard was broken, and the glass windows were full of cobwebs. He had passed by this shop many times, but today something pulled him toward it. The shop looked old, forgotten, and strange. Inside, the air smelled of rust and old wood. The shop was full of broken radios, rusty tools, old books, and strange items that no one wanted. Rafi slowly walked in and looked around. An old man sat behind the counter, reading a newspaper with yellow pages. "Looking for something, young man?" the old man asked in a tired voice. "Just looking," Rafi replied. He walked to the corner where there was a big wooden box labeled Junk, Free. He started digging through it, moving old keys, wires, and broken watches. His hand touched something rough and cloth-like. He pulled it out. It was a small, dark green military patch. The edges were worn out. In the center there was a strange symbol, a golden eagle with a red eye holding two arrows. Rafi had never seen a patch like that before. It looked old and important. "What's this?" Rafi asked the shopkeeper. The old man squinted at the patch, then shrugged. "Just some old army stuff. Nobody knows where it came from. Take it, if you want." "For free?" "Yes, free. It's junk." Rafi nodded, put the patch in his pocket, and thanked the man. As he walked out, a strange feeling touched his heart. He didn't know why, but it felt like the patch was trying to tell him something. As he walked down the street, Rafi noticed something strange. A black car was parked across the road. The windows were dark, and he couldn't see inside. He kept walking. After a few steps, he turned his head to look back. The car was still there. He walked faster. The car slowly started moving behind him. Rafi's heart beat faster. He turned into a small alley. The car didn't follow. He waited for a few minutes hiding behind a wall. When he came out, the car was gone. "Maybe I'm just thinking too much," he told himself. But the patch in his pocket felt heavy now, almost alive. That night, Rafi sat on his bed and looked closely at the patch. The colors were faded, but the design was clear. The golden eagle looked serious, proud, and dangerous. The red eye glowed a little when the light hit it. Rafi opened his old laptop and searched online. Golden eagle patch with red eye and arrows, army symbol. He clicked through many images. Nothing matched. He added more words. Secret army, patch, unknown military symbol. Still nothing. Then he found a strange blog. It looked old and hadn't been updated in years. The page had only one picture. It was the same patch. The text under it read, "This patch belongs to a unit that never existed." "Officially," Rafi blinked. "What does that mean?" he whispered. He kept reading. The blog said the patch was once worn by a soldier who was part of a secret army mission many years ago. No records were found, no names, no files. It was like the whole unit had been erased. But why? And how did the patch end up in a junk shop? Suddenly, Rafi's lights flickered. The power in his small house went out for a few seconds. Then it came back. His heart beat faster. Something didn't feel right. He looked out the window. That same black car was parked across the street. Rafi quickly turned off the lights and stayed low. He watched the car. No one came out. It just sat there, like a dark shadow watching him. He took the patch and placed it inside a book, hiding it in his drawer. He didn't know what was happening, but something told him this patch was not just junk. It was something more. The next morning, he went to the oldest person he knew, Uncle Kareem, a retired army soldier who lived nearby. Kareem was over 70 now, but his mind was sharp and he remembered everything. Rafi knocked on the door. Kareem opened it with a smile. "Ah, Rafi, what brings you here so early?" "I found something," Rafi said quietly. "Something strange." He showed him the patch. The moment Kareem saw it, his smile disappeared. His face turned pale. Where did you get this?" Kareem asked, his voice shaking. Rafi explained everything. The shop, the box, the blog. Kareem sat down slowly, holding the patch in his wrinkled hands. He didn't speak for a full minute. Then he whispered, "This should not exist. This should have been destroyed." "Why?" Rafi asked. "What is it?" "This patch belonged to a man, a soldier. We called him the Ghost. He saved lives during a war, did secret missions no one else could. Then one day, he disappeared. The government erased everything. No one was allowed to speak his name again." Rafi's mouth was dry. "And now this is back?" Kareem looked at him with serious eyes. "Don't show this to anyone. Don't tell anyone you have it. You don't know who might be watching." "But someone already is," Rafi said. "A black car. It followed me yesterday. It's still outside." Kareem closed the windows and locked the door. "Then it's already too late." The room was silent. Rafi sat across from Uncle Kareem, staring at the patch. It lay on the table between them, like a piece of lost history or a dangerous secret. Uncle Kareem's hands were shaking slightly as he held a glass of water. His face looked older now, worried and tired. "This patch," Kareem said slowly, "was supposed to be destroyed with everything connected to that unit. But now that it's here, someone will come looking for it. Maybe they already are." Rafi's voice was low. "Who was he? The man who wore this?" Kareem looked out the window, then closed the curtain. "He was a hero, a real one. His name, I can't even say it. They erased it from all records. We called him the Ghost because no one could catch him, no one could stop him. He saved many lives during the war, but one day he went on a mission and never came back. Was he killed?" Kareem shook his head. "No one knows. His body was never found. The government claimed he betrayed the country, but those of us who knew him, we never believed it." Rafi's mind was full of questions. So why hide everything? Because what he knew could destroy powerful people. Later that day, Rafi walked home with the patch hidden deep in his bag. The streets felt different now. Every face looked suspicious. Every sound made him turn around. As he reached his door, he noticed something strange. His lock was broken. His heart stopped for a second. He slowly pushed the door open. Everything looked normal. Until he entered his room. The drawer was open. The book he had hidden the patch in was lying on the floor. Rafi quickly checked inside the book. Relief. The patch was still there, but someone had been inside. Someone had searched for it. And they were careful enough not to steal anything else. That night, Rafi couldn't sleep. He lay awake, staring at the ceiling, holding the patch in his hand. Why did he feel so connected to it? Why did it feel alive? At 2 a.m., his phone buzzed. Unknown number. He hesitated, then answered. A deep, calm voice spoke. "You have something. That doesn't belong to you." Rafi froze. "Who is this?" "You found the patch," the voice continued. "Do not speak about it to anyone. Return it to the shop where you found it." Rafi swallowed. "Why? What's so special about it?" The voice became quiet. Then it said one last sentence before the call ended. "Some truths are buried for a reason." The next morning, Rafi went back to the shop. But something was wrong. The shutters were closed. A white paper was stuck on the front door. Closed. Out of business. Rafi knocked, waited, looked around. Nothing. The shop was empty. The old man was gone, just like that. Raffi stepped back and stared at the sign for a long time. He could feel it now. He was part of something bigger than he ever imagined. Later that day, he went to the city museum. It had a small military section with uniforms, medals, and old photos. He walked around, pretending to be just another visitor, but his eyes scanned everything, looking for a match. He compared the patch to different uniforms, but none were the same. Then an old guard walked up behind him and whispered, "You're not going to find that symbol here." Raffi turned quickly. "You know about it?" The guard looked serious. "Only a few do. That patch belongs to a unit that never officially existed." "Why?" The guard glanced around, making sure no one was listening. "Because their missions were secret, deep, dangerous. If the world found out, a lot of powerful men would fall." Raffi's hands trembled slightly. "So, what do I do?" The guard said only one thing before walking away. "If you want the truth, find General Abbas." That night, Raffi sat in the dark, patch in hand. His heart was racing, but not with fear. This time it was curiosity, fire, something strong. He whispered to himself, "General Abbas, who are you?" He knew one thing now. He couldn't stop. He had to keep going. This patch had a story that the world had tried to forget, but Raffi was going to remember. That night, Raffi couldn't sleep. He lay in bed with the patch beside him, staring at the ceiling. His mind was full of questions. Who was the ghost? What really happened to him? Why did everyone act like the patch was dangerous? And now, a new name, General Abbas. The museum guard had whispered it like a secret, like a key. "I have to find him," Raffi said to himself. But where? The next morning, Raffi packed a small bag and traveled to the nearby city. He visited the military office and asked for General Abbas. A young officer behind the desk looked at him strangely. "General Abbas retired 10 years ago," the officer said. "Where is he now?" Raffi asked. The officer shook his head. "We don't give that kind of information." Raffi was about to leave when an old janitor cleaning nearby spoke softly. "He goes to the old army camp every Sunday morning, alone." Raffi looked at him. "Thank you." On Sunday morning before sunrise, Raffi walked into the old abandoned army camp on the edge of the city. The gate was broken, grass grew wild on the ground, the buildings were silent, left behind, like ghosts from another time. He waited quietly behind a tree. At 6 a.m., a black Jeep slowly drove in. A tall, older man stepped out. His back was straight, his uniform clean. Even though his hair was white, his eyes were sharp, full of experience, full of stories. Raffi stepped forward. "General Abbas?" The man turned quickly, surprised. "Who are you?" "My name is Raffi. I need to show you something." Abbas stared at him. Raffi pulled out the patch. The general's face changed immediately. He stepped closer. For a moment, he said nothing. Then, to Raffi's shock, he stood straight and gave the patch a salute. Tears filled the general's eyes. "Where did you get this?" he whispered. "I found it in a junk shop," Raffi replied. "But I think it's more than just a patch." Abbas took it in his hands, like it was gold. His voice was low and full of emotion. "This belonged to the bravest man I ever knew." They sat on an old bench under a tree. The wind was cold, but the story that followed was colder. "Many years ago," Abbas began, "during a silent war, we had a secret team. No names, no ID cards, no files. We answered only to the top command. We did the missions no one wanted to do, dangerous, dirty, and deadly. There were 6 of us, but one man, he was different, stronger, smarter. He never left a man behind. We called him Ghost because he came and disappeared like smoke." Raffi listened, completely still. "During one mission," Abbas continued, "we were trapped, surrounded by enemies. I was shot. The others were dead. Ghost carried me on his back for miles, through fire, bullets, and blood. Did he survive? Rafi asked. Abbas's voice became quiet. He left me at a safe place and went back. He said he had to finish the mission. He never returned. We waited for weeks. Then they told us. He betrayed us. They said he ran away and sold our secrets. Rafi looked shocked. But you didn't believe that? Abbas shook his head. Never. I knew him. He would never do that. But orders came from the top. They erased his name, burned his files, made him a ghost, forever. The general touched the patch gently. This is the only piece left of him. I thought it was gone forever. Rafi felt something deep inside his heart. Then we need to bring his story back. People should know the truth. Abbas nodded. Yes, but it won't be easy. People who buried this truth are still powerful, still watching. That night, as Rafi returned home, he had a dream. In the dream, he saw a man standing on a battlefield. His face was hidden, but the patch was on his chest. He was surrounded by smoke, by fire, but he stood tall. The man turned slowly and whispered, "Tell them I never left." Rafi woke up with a deep breath. He now understood. This was no longer just about history. It was about justice, and he was the one chosen to bring it. The next day, Rafi met General Abbas again, this time at a quiet tea shop far from the city. They sat at a corner table where no one could hear them. The general spoke first. "I've decided to help you, but if we begin this journey, there's no turning back." Rafi nodded. "I understand." Abbas placed an old metal box on the table. It was locked and covered in dust. He pushed it toward Rafi. "This box contains what's left of the ghost's story. Photos, letters, some pieces that never made it into the files." Rafi opened the box slowly. Inside were old black and white photos. One showed 6 men standing together in uniform, their faces serious, their eyes sharp. One of them had his face half covered with a scarf. "That's him," Abbas said, pointing. "That's the ghost." Rafi leaned closer. The patch was clearly visible on his arm. There was also a folded letter, yellow with age, but the writing was still clear. The first line read, "If I don't return, tell the truth." That night, Rafi sat at his desk, the letter in his hand, reading every word carefully. The ghost had written about everything, the secret missions, the betrayal, the moment he knew he was being hunted by his own people. He never lost his loyalty, but the system turned against him. He ended the letter with a single line, "Even if I vanish, my story must live." Rafi stared at the words for a long time. He felt as if the ghost was speaking directly to him. Next morning, Rafi and General Abbas went to meet an old friend of the ghost, Captain Farid, now a bookstore owner. The bookstore was hidden in a narrow alley, filled with dusty books and old maps. Farid looked up as the bell rang. He froze when he saw the patch in Rafi's hand. "Where did you get that?" he whispered. Abbas stepped forward. "It's time, Farid. The past is knocking again." Farid locked the front door and pulled down the blinds. "I thought this was all buried." "It was," Abbas said. "But now, it wants to be remembered." Farid led them to the basement where he kept old records. He opened a drawer and pulled out a file marked Operation Silent Hawk, Classified. It had maps, radio logs, mission codes. Rafi couldn't believe it. This was real, not just a story. The mission was simple, Farid explained. Go behind enemy lines. Collect proof. Come back. But someone in the army leaked the plan. We were trapped. Rafi listened carefully. Every detail was a missing puzzle piece. "And the ghost?" Rafi asked. Farid's voice became low. "He had the proof. He sent it through a secret channel. But before he could return, they erased him, said he turned traitor." "Where's the proof now?" Abbas asked. Farid looked at both of them. No one ever found it. That night, Rafi sat in his room, looking at the patch, the photos, the file. He opened his laptop and started typing. He created a private video file, a digital message. In the video, he told the story of the ghost. Not all of it, just enough to make people curious. He added the photo of the 6 men, the letter, and a blurred image of the patch. He saved it with one title, The Soldier Who Never Returned, Part 1. He didn't upload it yet, but it was ready, just in case. Later that night, as Rafi went to get water, he noticed something outside his window, a man watching from across the street. He wasn't moving, just standing, waiting. Rafi quickly stepped back and turned off the lights. The message was clear. They knew. Rafi didn't sleep that night. He kept looking out the window, but the man was gone. Still, the fear stayed. He wasn't just holding a piece of history now. He was being watched because of it. The next morning, Rafi met General Abbas again at a small cafe far from the main road. "They're following me," Rafi said quietly. Abbas nodded. "I told you. The moment you took that patch, your life changed." Rafi looked around, careful not to raise suspicion. "What do they want?" "The truth to stay buried," Abbas said. "And they'll do anything to keep it that way." They left the cafe and walked down a quiet street. Abbas stopped in front of a small house with an old wooden door. "This is safe," he said. "No phones, no cameras, just silence." Inside, the room smelled of old paper and dust. A single light bulb hung from the ceiling. Abbas opened a hidden drawer in the wall and pulled out a small audio recorder. This belonged to him, the ghost. He recorded a message before his final mission. Rafi pressed play. The voice was calm, deep, and full of pain. "If you're hearing this, I didn't make it back. I didn't betray anyone. They lied. The truth is in the file. They're hiding it. One day someone will find this. And if you do, don't be afraid. Tell my story." Rafi's hands were shaking. "Why didn't anyone speak before?" Abbas replied, "Because everyone who tried disappeared." As the sun went down, Rafi returned home quickly. He kept looking over his shoulder, but no one was there. Or so he thought. When he opened his apartment door, his heart stopped. His room was upside down. Drawers open, books thrown, his laptop missing. Only one thing was untouched: the patch, hidden behind a painting on the wall. They had been here, but they didn't find everything. Rafi rushed out and went straight to Captain Farid's bookstore. But the store was closed. A police line blocked the door. A sign read, "Under investigation, fire incident." Smoke still rose from the broken windows. Rafi's mouth went dry. He asked a shopkeeper nearby, "What happened?" The man shook his head. "Last night, small fire. No one saw who did it. The old owner is missing." Rafi stepped back. His heart was racing. Someone was trying to erase every piece of the past. He called Abbas immediately. "They're moving fast," Abbas said. "They know we're close." "But we don't have the full proof," Rafi replied. Abbas stayed quiet for a moment, then said, "There's one last place, deep in the mountains, a safe house. That's where the ghost used to send hidden files. Is it still there? I don't know. But if something survived, it'll be there." That night, Rafi packed his bag. He took only what he needed: the patch, the audio recorder, the old photos, and the hidden video file. As he locked his door, a car passed slowly behind him. He didn't turn. He kept walking. He was no longer just a student. He was a keeper of the truth. A truth people were willing to kill for. And now, he was being hunted. But he wasn't going to stop. The cold wind hit Rafi's face as the bus climbed higher into the mountains. The road was narrow and silent. Trees stood tall on both sides, covered in fog. Rafi looked out the window, holding his bag close. Inside it were the last pieces of a forgotten soldier's truth. Beside him sat General Abbas. His eyes stared straight ahead, but Rafi could tell he was remembering something. Something heavy. "How far is the safe house?" Rafi asked. "Another 2 hours," Abbas replied. "Hidden deep. Only 2 people alive know where it is. And one of them is sitting next to you." After the bus ride, they walked through the forest for over an hour. The air was thin and the ground was wet with fallen leaves. Birds cried out in the distance, but otherwise, silence. Finally, Abbas stopped in front of a large rock. It looked normal, but he knelt down and brushed away the leaves. Underneath was a metal box. Inside, a key. They walked a few more minutes until they reached a broken wooden cabin. "This is it," Abbas said. "The safe house." Inside, everything was dusty, untouched for years. Spider webs hung from the ceiling. Old files, a broken chair, and military gear were scattered around. But one corner of the room looked different. Clean, protected by plastic sheets. Rafi carefully pulled off the plastic. A small metal locker stood against the wall. Abbas took the key and opened it. Inside were several sealed envelopes, a USB drive, and a small journal. Rafi picked up the journal. The first page had a name. "For my son. If he ever finds this." His hands froze. He looked up at Abbas. "Did he have a son?" Abbas nodded slowly. "Yes, he kept it secret. His greatest fear was that the truth would one day find his child and destroy him." Rafi sat on the floor and opened the journal. The handwriting was messy but strong. The ghost had written everything. Every mission, every secret, every betrayal. He had trusted no one but this notebook. On the last page, one sentence was underlined. "If you're reading this, you are the last soldier now." Rafi's throat tightened. His eyes burned. This wasn't just a story anymore. This was a legacy. He turned to the USB drive. Abbas connected it to a small old laptop they had brought with them. A folder opened. Top secret. Black files. Inside were scanned letters, photos, and one shocking video. A confession. A high-ranking officer, now retired, spoke into the camera. "We made a mistake. The ghost was loyal. We blamed him to protect someone else. Someone powerful." Rafi and Abbas looked at each other in silence. This was the truth, the real truth. And now, they had proof. Suddenly, they heard a noise outside. A branch snapped. Then footsteps. Abbas stood quickly and peeked through the window. "We have company." Rafi grabbed the patch and the USB drive. Abbas took the journal. They slipped out the back door and ran into the trees, silent as shadows. Behind them, the cabin lit up. A car had arrived. 3 men got out, holding radios. One of them looked familiar to Rafi, the man who had watched him from across the street. "They followed us," Rafi whispered. Abbas pulled him behind a tree. "Then we don't go back. We go forward." They spent the night in a nearby cave, using a small fire to stay warm. As they sat in the dark, Rafi looked at the patch one more time. "What now?" he asked. Abbas looked at him and said one word: "Release." The next morning, Rafi uploaded the video file online from a remote internet tower. The video was short but powerful. It told the story of a forgotten soldier, a hero erased, a truth buried, a patch that spoke louder than any metal. He ended the video with the ghost's final words: "Even if I vanish, my story must live." And then he clicked upload. The truth was out now, but the danger wasn't over. Because when secrets escape into the light, the darkness comes chasing. The video went live at 6:42 a.m. By 9:00, it had over 50,000 views. By afternoon, it was all over the internet. People everywhere were talking about the forgotten soldier, the one they now called the real ghost. News anchors, bloggers, students, and ex-soldiers all shared the video. Many were shocked, some were angry, others wept. Why did no one tell us before? Who covered it up? This man deserves a national honor. Rafi watched the reaction from a borrowed phone at a small hill station cafe. The patch rested in his jacket pocket. The USB drive was now hidden far away, in a secure place. General Abbas sat beside him, drinking tea quietly. It has started, Rafi nodded, but we don't know how it will end. Late that night, Rafi received a call. It was from a blocked number. He hesitated, then picked up. A deep voice spoke. You're brave, Rafi, but brave people don't always live long. Before he could reply, the call ended. His hands were shaking. Abbas placed a hand on his shoulder. They're scared. That means we're winning. Next morning, the story hit national TV. A retired army official appeared on camera. He said, "Yes, we knew. We were ordered to stay silent, but the truth always finds a way." Public pressure grew. People demanded a full investigation. Protesters stood outside the army headquarters holding signs. Bring the ghost back. Truth is the highest honor. The government had no choice. They reopened the case. But then, something unbelievable happened. 3 days later, while Rafi and Abbas stayed hidden in a small village, a knock came at the door just before dawn. They both froze. Did someone follow us? Rafi whispered. Abbas carefully opened the door, gun in hand. A man stood outside, tall, silent, his face hidden by a scarf, his eyes old, tired, but powerful. He stepped inside slowly, looking at the patch in Rafi's hand. I never thought I'd see that again, the man said. Rafi stepped back, confused. Who are you? The man pulled down the scarf. Abbas gasped. His hands began to tremble. It can't be. The man gave a small smile. It's been a long time, General. It was him, the ghost, alive. Rafi stared, his mouth open. But you disappeared. Everyone thought you were dead. I had to disappear, the ghost said calmly. I was hunted, labeled a traitor. But I knew one day someone would come looking. And they did. He looked at Rafi. You. The room fell silent. Then Abbas spoke, voice shaking with emotion. You saved my life. You carried me through hell, and I let them call you a traitor. You didn't have a choice, the ghost said. None of us did. He turned to Rafi. Again. You gave me something I lost a long time ago. A name. Rafi couldn't believe what was happening. A man erased from history had returned, and now, with the truth out in the world, he was ready to speak. But the war wasn't over, because people who hide lies don't go down without a fight, and now they had a new target. All three of them. The ghost sat across from Rafi and General Abbas in the quiet room. The fire crackled softly. Outside, snow fell gently over the hills. Rafi still couldn't believe it. The man everyone thought was dead was sitting right in front of him, alive and calm. He looked older now. His beard was gray. His hands were rough but steady. What happened to you? Rafi asked softly. The ghost looked into the flames. I ran. I hid. I watched the world forget me. He paused. But I never gave up. I kept my promise to stay alive until the truth was safe. Abbas spoke next, his voice low and full of guilt. We failed you. We let the lie grow. We turned our faces away. The ghost nodded. You were soldiers. You followed orders. I don't blame you. But now, he said, turning to Rafi, this young man, he followed something stronger than orders. He followed the truth. Raffi felt tears in his eyes, but he smiled. I just wanted people to know what really happened. The next day, Raffi posted one final video. In it, the ghost finally spoke. No mask, no fear, no more hiding. He told the world who he was, what he did, and how they tried to destroy his name. The video ended with him holding the patch, looking into the camera. They tried to erase me, but a soldier doesn't die when he is killed. A soldier dies when he is forgotten. I am alive, and now, so is the truth. The world exploded. News channels ran the video non-stop. Hashtags like Nasha Ghost is real and truth. Never dies trended for days. Thousands marched with posters of the ghost. Full military investigation was launched. 2 high-ranking officials were arrested for hiding the truth. The ghost's name was cleared. He was honored publicly in a grand ceremony. He didn't wear a uniform, but he wore the patch. That was enough. Raffi stood beside him at the event. As cameras flashed, a reporter asked him, "Are you proud?" Raffi smiled and replied, "I didn't bring him back. He never left. All I did was listen and believe." Later that night, Raffi returned home. He opened his laptop and looked at the very first video he ever made about the patch. Millions had watched it, but he didn't care about the views. He cared about one thing. A man who was once forgotten was now remembered forever. Some truths are painful, some truths are buried, but in the end, truth never dies.